Hello, Lexi Mind. This is the channel where books meet language learning. Today, we're looking at one of the absolutely most famous psychology books in the world, Thinking Fast and Slow by Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. In this explainer, we're going to learn how the human mind actually works, why we make mistakes, and how to make better choices. And, because this is Lexi Mind, we'll do all of this in simple, clear English to help you build your language skills at the same time. So, here's our roadmap for today's lesson. First, we'll meet your two brains. Second, we'll look at some common mind traps and shortcuts. Third, we'll discover your two different selves. Fourth, we'll learn how to actually make better choices. And finally, make sure you stay with me until the very end, because we're going to finish with a special Lexi Mind vocabulary builder to help you review the new English words from this explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Section 1. Meet your two brains, System 1 and System 2. Kahneman introduces this really fascinating idea. We all basically have two different characters inside our heads that control how we think, how we feel, and how we act. He calls them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is incredibly fast. It's automatic and emotional. It works instantly, literally with no effort at all. It's the part of your brain that immediately reads an angry face or jumps when you hear a sudden loud noise. But on the other side, we have System 2. Now, System 2 is slow, deliberate, and extremely logical. You use System 2 when you're trying to solve a difficult math problem or, well, when you try to learn a new language. It requires your full, undivided attention.
But here is the secret about System 2. It's extremely lazy. Your brain has a limited amount of energy, right? And thinking hard takes a whole lot of work. Because of this, your brain prefers what Kahneman calls cognitive ease. That just means your brain really likes things to be easy and familiar. So most of the time, we just let the fast, automatic System 1 make all of our choices, while our logical System 2 just kind of sleeps in the background. Moving right along to Section 2, mind traps and shortcuts, predictable mistakes. Because our logical brain is so lazy and happily lets our fast brain do all the heavy lifting, we fall into some very predictable mistakes. Let's actually look at how this happens. I want to play a quick little game with you. Listen to this question carefully. A bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. So how much does the ball cost? Quickly now, what's the very first number that pops into your mind? Did you guess 10 cents? Well, most people do, but the correct answer is actually 5 cents. Think about it for a second. If the ball is 5 cents and the bat is exactly $1 more, the bat has to be 105. Together they make 110. And this little puzzle brilliantly illustrates Kahneman's point. If you guessed 10 cents, your fast System 1 just jumped to a quick conclusion because, well, it looked easy, and your System 2 was simply too lazy to stop and check the math. When System 1 jumps to those quick conclusions, it uses something called a heuristic. A heuristic is basically a mental shortcut. When a question is just too hard, our fast brain swaps it out with an easier question. For example, if someone asks you, "Hey, is flying dangerous?" your brain might quickly remember scary news stories about airplanes on TV. Because you can remember those dramatic stories so easily, your System 1 automatically says, yes, flying is dangerous, even though real statistics show it's actually incredibly safe. Now, these mental shortcuts lead us straight into common mind traps. Kahneman introduces a pretty strange acronym, YCAIT. This stands for what you see is all there is. It means our fast brain builds a whole story using only the information right in front of us. It completely ignores what might be missing. This causes things like the halo effect, where if we like just one thing about a person, we instantly assume everything about them is good. And it definitely causes overconfidence. We feel so confident in our choices because our fast brain simply ignores all the facts we don't know. Another completely massive mind trap is called loss aversion. This is a core fundamental idea in the book. Loss aversion means that the psychological pain of losing something is literally twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining something. Simply put, we humans hate losing $10 much, much more than we enjoy finding $10. This intense fear of losing makes us avoid necessary changes and take really bad risks just to avoid feeling that loss. Section 3. Your two selves. Experiencing and remembering. Kahneman made another absolutely fascinating discovery, not just about how we think, but about how we experience our entire lives. It turns out we actually have two selves. First, we have the experiencing self. This self lives right now, right in the present moment. It feels pain or joy exactly as it happens. But then we have the remembering self. The remembering self comes into play later. It takes our raw experiences and turns them into a story in our memory. And what's really crazy here is that these two selves often do not agree with each other at all. So, the crucial point to understand is that our remembering self follows what's called the peak end rule. When we remember a vacation or, say, a visit to the doctor, we don't actually remember how long it lasted. We ignore the duration completely. Instead, our brain really only remembers two things: the peak, which is the most intense moment of joy or pain, and the end, which is how the event finished. A totally beautiful 2-week vacation can be completely ruined in our memory just because we lost our bags on the very last day. Section 4. Making better choices. How to avoid traps. Okay, so we've learned that our fast brain makes mistakes, we constantly fear losing things, and our own memories trick us. So how can knowing about these mind traps actually help us in our daily lives? Well, Kahneman gives us some really powerful advice here. We can't turn off System 1. We just can't. It's automatic. But we can absolutely learn to recognize important choices. When you're making a big decision, like buying a house or choosing a new job, step 1 is to recognize that you might be falling into a trap. Step 2 is to just slow down. And step 3 is to actively force your lazy System 2 to wake up, do the math, and look at the cold, hard logic. One really great trick to force System 2 into action is to use the outside view. See, when we plan a project or start a new business, we usually only look at our own highly optimistic ideas. Kahneman calls this the inside view, but he says we must look at the outside view. This means actively looking at actual statistics. Look at how other people succeeded or failed in the exact same situation you're in. Don't just trust your gut feelings, you have to trust the numbers. And that brings us to Section 5, the LexiMind Vocabulary Builder, 8B1 English Words. We've explored a lot of really amazing psychology today, so let's take a moment to review the English vocabulary we use to describe these concepts. I'm going to walk you through these 8 essential B1 English words. Feel free to read them along with me. First up, we have automatic. This means working by itself with little to no direct human control. For example, System 1 makes automatic choices without us trying. Next is deliberate. This means done consciously and intentionally. Example, math requires slow, deliberate thinking. Third is bias. That's a strong feeling for or against something without a good reason, as in, his bias makes him jump to the wrong conclusion. Fourth, we have predictable, meaning happening in a way that is expected. Human mistakes are actually very predictable. Moving down the list, we have evaluate, which means to judge how good, useful, or successful something is. System 2 must evaluate the facts carefully. Next up is rational, meaning based on clear thought and reason. We like to believe we are rational humans. Then, outcome, the final result of a meeting, process, or event. The outcome of the game was a surprise. And finally, intuition. That's knowing something based on a feeling rather than facts. Her intuition told her the answer was 10 cents. Make sure to take a quick screenshot of that vocabulary list so you can practice it later. To finish up our explainer today, I want to leave you with one really fun question to think about. Which system did you use to learn these new English words today? Was it your fast, emotional System 1 or your slow, deliberate System 2? I think we both know that language learning definitely requires that careful, hardworking System 2. Thank you so much for watching LexiMind, where books meet language learning. Keep thinking, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.